say this time of year is a time of new beginnings. People are transitioning out of the summer schedules into the fall. Schools are starting back up. Colleges are back in session. Jobs are changing their focus. And it is a time where things are becoming new. And so if you were here in person with me, I'd be asking you a simple question. How does it feel when you start something new? For a lot of us, there's some excitement. But in the midst of the excitement, there's also things like anxiety or nervousness, or we're scared because we don't know who we're going to be with or who we're going to see, if we're going to like them, if they're going to like us. We're worried about the stress of having to perform and live up to expectations and follow through on these things. And there's just a whole bunch of things going on inside of us when we start something new. And all of these things are completely natural, because when we're starting into something new, we're going into something that we don't know. We can't see what's coming. The future is dark, and there might be little blinks every once in a while, but there are so many unknowns that it really is like walking into the darkness to move into something new. Before we moved to West Point, I lived in Kansas City area, and my wife and I had an apartment where we never had to really even turn on the lights. Like, very rarely did we have any lights on in our house. We definitely didn't have any night lights on, because there was enough light from the street lights and everything else around us that they illuminated our apartment fine. And we could get by with lower electric bills by keeping everything off, because there was enough light coming through. And the other thing that helped was we lived there, so I knew where everything was. Like, if there was some box on the ground, or I knew how far out the couch went into the hallway down towards the bedroom, so I knew how to move around that and wiggle my way through. And so I never had to worry about having lights on at night, because I never really had to worry about darkness. And then we moved here, and if you don't know, West Point is a little different than living inside of Kansas City, especially where we are at. There's not really a lot of street lights or anything else that you can get light in through your windows. So the first night we're in the house, I go down to the kitchen, and I go and turn the light off to turn around and come back, and then I'm in trouble, because I need to get to our bedroom and to this new place that still has stuff stacked up places, so it's not even all put away. I don't know how wide the doorways are or anything. I don't know where the light switches are. And suddenly, I've turned off this light to go back to bed in the middle of the night, and I don't know where to go. And I can't see anything. Like, literally, I put my hand up here, I could just see a form. I could not see anything, and I don't know where to go. And suddenly, walking back to bed in the middle of the night didn't become something that I was used to. It became something that was a little bit scary. Well, at least for my toes. I was worried about what was going to happen as I tried to walk, what I was going to crash into, how things were going to work out. And sometimes that's exactly what it's like. Because when you get into the darkness of trying something new, you don't know what's waiting for you. And then sometimes the darkness makes you forget where you are or where you belong. I mean, have you ever gone to sleep someplace new, and then you woke up in the middle of the night and you couldn't see exactly where you are, and you didn't know where you were, and you didn't know what was going on, and all those things can happen because we forget where we belong when we can't see where we are. Which is a big problem when it comes to not just physically where you are, like, did you walk into the wrong room? Did you go to the wrong way? Did you bump into something you shouldn't have? But even more so when it comes to just us personally. When we're not sure of what's coming, we like having the security of knowing where everything belongs. Like we did in my first apartment, where I knew how to get around the couches and where the stacks of stuff were, and I never had to worry about it. Because even if the light wasn't coming through, I knew my way around. When we get into something new, that's not there anymore. And so we try to find a way to make things fit. We try to find a way to make ourselves fit. We want to know where we belong in everything. And so, like, from a school standpoint, a lot of us try to do this. We do this at work too, through achieving. If I can get the promotion, if I can get the good grades, if I can make the team, if I can audition for the lead role, and if I get these things, well, then I know where I belong. I belong where I have earned my spot. I belong where I have achieved something. Or sometimes it's through the group of people that we sit with, because none of us want to sit at lunch alone, really. At least we want to be invited to sit with somebody else. And so what do we do to fit in? For some of us, we do whatever we can and whatever we have to in order to fit in. And so if this group shows a little bit of interest in me or willingness to let me show up, I'll do whatever it takes to stay there with them at that table. Change my hair, start listening to different music, I'll find a new way to dress, I'll start doing things I didn't do before, I'll start believing things I didn't believe before, as long as you will accept me. Whatever it takes to belong, I'll do it. And then there's others of us that we've just kind of given up on that, right? And we try by giving up. I just want to survive through this. Just let me get through this time at work, through this time at school. It'll be over soon. I don't want to deal with you. So I'm not going to challenge myself to do anything out of my comfort zone. I'm not going to deal with anybody else, like making friends or having conversations. I don't want anything. Just leave me alone. Let me just survive through this with the bare minimum needed, because that's all I can do to get to the other side. And trying to do things that help us belong and make sense of stuff that's new these ways, through achievements, through doing whatever it takes to fitting in, by just giving up and trying to survive, may seem good on a short-term basis. Like there might be a short-term return. But they're going to end up making your life filled with stress. They're going to give you a life of uncertainty. And they're going to give you a life of loneliness, which are all of the feelings and things that you probably were running from in the first place, when it felt like the darkness of whatever this new thing is was taking over. The good news is that Jesus offers us a way out of the darkness. He does that, and he's able to do that because Jesus is the light. In John 8:12, he's talking about himself. And he says, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. I want you to do an experiment. We can't do this easily on video together, but do an experiment. I want you to go and find like a match or a lighter and go someplace where you can make the lights go off, okay? So have the lights on at first and turn the lighter on, and the little light from the lighter seems really small. Like it's not really making a difference in what's happening in the room and anything like that, because there's so much light going on already. It just gets kind of drowned out in what's there. And then I want you to go ahead and turn the lights off. Make it dark. I mean, as you can really get it dark, make it really dark. And then turn that lighter on again, or light that match. And that little flame that you had before, it's going to light up the whole room. It's going to fill every corner of the place that you're in. It might not be super bright, but that light is making a difference the whole way through. You're able to see where you are in the room. You'll be able to see other people and where they are in the room with you. And the craziest thing about it is that darkness that seemed so overwhelming a second ago can't do anything about it. It cannot stop the light. So Jesus is the light of the world. No matter how dark your place seems to be, Jesus can show up, and even a little bit of light can help you see where you belong. And the place that you belong is with Him because He loves you. He loves you when you don't make the grade or when you made the team. It doesn't matter to Him because His love of you is not based on what you've achieved. He loves you as you are. There are no strings attached. There's no application you've got to fill out. You don't have to change your hair or anything like that to be loved by Him. Yeah, love empowers you to grow and to change, but you don't change to earn His love. And His love means that you are never alone, and there's someone who understands you and gets you. So life can be so much more than just getting by. And I'm not talking about finding fame and fortune and all that stuff. I mean, your life can be more than just surviving. It can actually have genuine joy. It can have peace. It can have hope. It can have anticipation. And the crazy thing about the light of Jesus that shows us that we belong with him and reminds us over and over again that we are loved and we are empowered by that light. Is that when it shows us where we belong, it shows us what we need to do. When Jesus was teaching the people on the hillside one day, he looked out to them and he said, "You are the light of the world. A city on a hill can't be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven." You don't have to go to work. You get to shine light where you're working. You don't have to go to class. You get to go to class to shine light in your classroom or in your band room or at the practice facility or at the audition or on the bus or in the cafeteria. You don't get to do, or you don't have to do any of those things. You get to be light wherever you go. Light's not something you hide away. Light is something you place out in front for people to see and to take advantage of and to be changed by. Light pushes back the darkness. And why do you get to do this? Because there are lots of friends who are in darkness wondering where they belong, and they need the light that has been given to you. So you show them the light by being like Jesus, the one you belong with. So you do your best with what you've got. You do what you do as if you're doing it to God. People will notice if you're actually trying in class or trying at work. People will notice when you're studying hard or when you're not taking shortcuts. And you'll be able to say, "I'm doing this because this is one of the ways I'm serving the Lord." You do this by looking for opportunities to do good deeds, which God is already out preparing for you to do, waiting for you to get there so that you can cooperate with Him and shine your light. Things like encouraging a friend who's having a really hard day when it would have been easier just to say, "I'm sorry," and walked away. Things like sitting with a kid who looks really lonely, even if you don't even know who they are. Things like standing up for the person that's getting picked on, or sharing some food with someone who's hungry, or simply just letting people know that they are loved, not because of what they can or cannot do, but because of who Jesus is. And if you really want to be like Him, you'll do these things even if it costs you something. Like some lunch, or some time, or some popularity. Because you're saying that your relationship with Him and the people around you are more important than those little things that might inconvenience you. This school year, God has put you where you are for a reason. He loves you. He is with you. And you can know where you belong because Jesus' light can shine into your life. But not only that, because not everybody knows about that light, you get to help. So go, be light, go shine, and see what happens when God uses you this new year. So instead of our normal prayer time at the end, what I'd like to do is spend a little bit of time blessing you. Whether you are a teacher, an educator, a student, a parent, or somebody who's just in life, listen in on this blessing and take it and help it to be yours. When Jesus was 12, He stayed at the temple listening to and asking questions of the teachers there. Will you do your best to listen and to learn in this coming year? If we trust the Lord will show us the right way. So will you trust God and look for signs of God's presence as you go through each and every day? You can bring God your fears and your uncertainties because you're going to have them. So will you invite God to walk with you as you encounter each new day? Sometimes we forget that we are a blessed people. So will you look for those who have needs around you, and will you live generously, sharing what you have, encouraging others with kindness? If you're able to commit to those things, this blessing is for you. Lord, today we are here to pray for all of those going back to school, back to work, back to something new. Protect them from fear and anxiety. Help them to fix their eyes on you every day. Bless the adults with enthusiasm that can be felt by every child. Help them nurture spirits as well as minds. Give them patience and an attitude of gentleness to guide them through difficult situations. Use them to help all of us to see that we don't have to fear new knowledge or experiences. May they inspire all who connect with them to go further than they would have alone. Lord, bless the students with the promises of your word. Over all their steps, may you be a lamp for their feet and a light for their paths. Over all their relationships, may they choose wisely friends that will refresh their spirits. Over all their challenges, may they remember you are with them, you, the one who saves, and you can quiet them by your love and guard their spirits and their minds in Christ Jesus. Over all their decisions, may they trust in and acknowledge you and not lean on their own understanding. Over all their influence, may they do everything in love as you have loved them. Over all their trials, may they be strong and courageous because you never leave them or forsake them. Over all their triumphs, may they give you thanks, the Lord who gives victory through Christ Jesus. And Lord, would you bless all of us, that each day we would remember the privilege of being loved by you and belonging with you. May your light shine through us always. Amen.